I intentionally titled my video message, Lesbians are sexually satisfied by lesbians. And I'm going to go into detail why. There are people who believe they know the mindset of a lesbian. They believe they know how lesbians believe, think, and feel mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually. However, in this video message today, I'm going to focus on the sexual side, because there are men and women who think they know what a lesbian desires and what a lesbian does not desire sexually. And the interesting part of these people who claim to know that they know exactly the mindset of a lesbian sexually, these people are not lesbians. I titled my video message, Lesbians are sexually satisfied by lesbians, because I am a lesbian and lesbians know lesbians. As a Black lesbian woman, there's not enough information about us, but there's a lot of talk about us. And what I mean is there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of misconceptions about lesbian sexuality. And most of this information comes from people who are not lesbians. And they can be male or female. And I'm going to give you some insight about what I know and understand about why people do not think that lesbians are sexually satisfied. They know at least one thing. And that one thing that they know is that a lesbian is sexually involved with a woman. And that's about all they know. But they like to think that they know everything about lesbians when it comes to their sexuality and their sex life. But they are very wrong. I am Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Here on my YouTube channel, I provide my lesbian perspective. And if that interests you, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So the title of my video is Lesbians are sexually satisfied by lesbians. But as I stated already, that these people, they only know one thing about lesbians when it comes to their sex life. And that's lesbians are sexually involved with women. And this is where they become very misinformed, because they say that lesbians are sexually involved with women. But what kind of women? I'll repeat, what kind of women are lesbians sexually involved with? I understand and I know something that these people don't know. The people that I hear from are not lesbians. These people are men. Some of them are women. I'm going to share a story with you. Real true story. It was this man who made the statement that, quote, he feels sorry for lesbians because they can never enjoy penetrating each other because they don't have a penis. And they will never be able to fully enjoy having sex with a woman because they do not know what it's like to penetrate a woman. End quote. He made this statement, and he truly believes in his statement. He really believes that lesbians are not able to enjoy having sex with a woman because a woman doesn't have a penis and she's not able to penetrate a woman. So she will never really fully understand sexual enjoyment and sexual fulfillment with a woman because she does not have a penis. And he said he feels sorry for lesbians because of this. This is not the only time that I've heard a man make this kind of statement. I know that men are very sensitive about when it comes to having sex with women. Like they get really sensitive and self-conscious about their male member, their penis. They focus a lot on the size of their member. Their concern is, are they pleasing a woman sexually? And so because men are so fixated on their penis and sexually satisfying a woman, they think that a lesbian is thinking the same way a man is thinking. But that's where they're wrong. A man is not a woman, for starters. A man is not a lesbian. See, what men will do, they will use what they're thinking in their head sexually about women and project it onto lesbians. Because a lot of men feel insecure and they're very sensitive about their male member, their male body part, their penis, they worry a lot about what women think of them sexually. And a lot of men have sexual hang-ups. They take a lot of their anger out on women when they're not able to sexually satisfy women. And so what happens is a lot of this anger that men have towards women because they're not able to perform sexually, they actually have a lot of homophobia about lesbians. And here's why. And I know that there will be men who will try to refute what I'm saying, and they love to say they're not homophobic, but you're homophobic when you have a disdain for homosexuals, male or female. And in this context, I'm referring to female homosexuals. There are a lot of men who have a disdain for female homosexuals, and that is homophobia. And it also is a fear of homosexuals. And in this context, a lot of men fear lesbians. They are intimidated by lesbians, and they have a hatred for lesbians. And one of those reasons is in the context of this message is due to their sexual hang-ups, their sexual insecurities about their manhood, their male organ, their penis. When they are not able to perform sexually with a woman who they desire, it affects their ego. It affects how they feel about themselves as a man. And especially when a woman lets that man know that she is not sexually satisfied. That's very painful for a man. And what he does is he can internalize this pain, and he begins to resent women. And when he observes lesbians and he notices that lesbians have these relationships with other women, and these women are very attractive women. As a matter of fact, they're the kind of woman that he wishes that he could be with. But they're lesbians. So he knows he doesn't have a chance. He gets very curious about what lesbians are doing sexually. What is it that a woman can do to another woman sexually that he can't do to a woman sexually? That's what he's thinking. So understand that a man is thinking about a woman sexually, and he's projecting the way he thinks as a man sexually about women onto lesbians. So he's comparing himself to lesbians. And he's looking at a lesbian who is with this other beautiful lesbian. They're very happy, and he's very intrigued by their relationship. And he notices that they seem to be very content, very comfortable with each other. And he just can't help but to wonder, what are they doing together in bed? Why is a woman able to please another woman and I can't please a woman as a man? That's what he's thinking. That's his thoughts that he will never tell you. He is intimidated by lesbians because he knows that lesbians are able to sexually satisfy each other. And he's comparing himself to a lesbian because his own sex life is very unpleasant. He either is not having sex with a woman, or he's paying for sex with a woman because he can't get a woman to sleep with him, or the woman that he's sleeping with lets him know that she is not sexually satisfied. And he doesn't know what to do about it because, well, his pride is in the way. So he doesn't know how to communicate with the woman to learn how to please her sexually. And he just wonders what a lesbian is doing with another woman to keep her around. What does she have that he does not have? And see, a man focuses on his male member. He focuses on his penis so much to the point where he believes that his penis makes him a man. You see, a lot of men, they don't think they're a man unless they can sleep with multiple women, have multiple women chasing after them, and ultimately he gets to sleep with any woman he wants to. But if a man is not in that position sexually, then he begins to internalize his resentment towards women. And this is why a lot of men hate lesbians, because they know that lesbians are able to please women sexually, and they can't stand it. And so to make themselves feel a little bit better about themselves as a man, they will claim that lesbians are not sexually satisfied by having sex with women because they don't have a penis. They don't know what it's like to penetrate a woman because they cannot be a man. But this man will think this way because he wants to believe so badly that because he has a penis, that means that he is the only man who can really please a woman, and that it's impossible for a woman to please another woman. But what this man has forgotten is that he is not a woman and he is not a lesbian. So he can't put his male thoughts in the same category as a lesbian's thoughts. You can't compare. Now, back to the story of the man who said he feels sorry for lesbians because they could never fully sexually satisfy another woman because they can't penetrate a woman. They don't know what it's like to really experience a woman's body because they are not able to penetrate a woman because they don't have a penis. But how can a man tell a woman what she's feeling physically, emotionally, and sexually? He can't. And how can a man know what a lesbian is feeling and thinking sexually? He can't. He doesn't have the anatomy of a woman, and he doesn't have the mind of a lesbian. But yet, he really feels sorry for lesbians because they don't have what he has. And what he fails to understand is that lesbians don't want what a man has between his legs. We don't want it on us, and we don't want it on our woman. In other words, we do not like penis. So when a man equates what he does in bed sexually with a woman to what a lesbian does in bed with a woman, that's why he has it wrong. That's why he's confused. That's why he's misinformed. And that's why he remains deceived by his own male thoughts, because he's angry about who he is. He's angry that he's not able to sexually satisfy women. And to make himself feel good, he likes to pretend that he can do better in bed with a woman than a lesbian can do in bed with a woman. But it's just his egotistical fantasy, because you will never understand or never experience being a lesbian sexually involved with a lesbian. I want to go back to where I mentioned that people have it wrong about who lesbians are sleeping with. There's men and there's women who think they know all about lesbians and what they like sexually, and they harp on the idea that lesbians are not satisfied, that they're not fulfilled because they're with women. Well, let me explain something to you, and I'm going to give you some insight because I am a lesbian and I'm also a life coach. I speak to a lot of people and I study people. I have a Master of Science in Human Behavior. And one of the reasons why I started my online school, Giselle Wallace Lesbian Academy, is not to educate people who are not lesbians. No, see, the school is more so for lesbians because lesbians know lesbians. And I wanted to create an academy where lesbians can come together and have courses that inspire us and remind us who we are. Because we live in a heteronormative society. And I love the fact that I've created Giselle Wallace Lesbian Academy because we get to learn our way. And it's not that we're the ones out here spreading lies about lesbians or giving out misinformation or misleading people about who lesbians are. It's the other people that are doing that, the men and the women who are not lesbians. So Giselle Wallace Lesbian Academy allows lesbians to come together to be able to have a safe space to speak about our lives as lesbians without the interference of people who are not educated about lesbians, because Those other people, they don't really want to know the truth about lesbians, but I provide the truth about lesbians in my online academy. I believe it is a priority for us to stay together, stay in communication, and to celebrate our lives, and to also educate ourselves. People who think they know all about lesbians, they are not lesbians. The one thing that they do know, as I said earlier, is that lesbians are sexually involved with women. I'm going to give you some insight here so I can completely debunk people who think they know about lesbian sexuality, debunk their belief that lesbians are not sexually satisfied. And this may step on some toes, but that's fine, because I'm going to tell you the truth about lesbians, because lesbians are sexually satisfied by lesbians. And I stress by lesbians. Lesbians are sexually satisfied by lesbians. These men who say that lesbians are not satisfied by being with women, and there's other women who make these statements as well, but these people are not lesbians. And I'm repeating that for a reason. These people are not lesbians that are discussing lesbian sexuality. I told you a story already about a man, but I'm going to tell you another story. This man said that lesbians are not sexually pleased by a woman. I did some investigation on why he thought this way. Why do you think that lesbians are not sexually satisfied by women? And it's not because I was offended, or it wasn't because I took it personal, because I am a lesbian. I already know who I am. And I already know that a man cannot tell me how I think and how I feel as a woman or as a lesbian. For me, it's just the way my mind is. I'm a very curious, observant person. I like to learn. So I take notes, and these are qualities that I naturally have, and I utilize them as a life coach. So this man proceeded to let me know that anytime he sleeps with a woman, they let him know that they love being with men because men have the male member, the male organ, the penis. And he used some other explicit verbiage, but I'm not going to use that, of course, because I do not want this message to be censored. This man basically explained that every woman that he sleeps with, they let him know how much they love penis. And so I said, all right. I said, let me ask you something. You said every woman you sleep with let you know how much they love penis. And I said, is that the reason why you think that lesbians are not sexually satisfied with women? And he said, yes. I said, well, I can understand why you think that. I said, because see, you're focusing on lesbians sleeping with women, but what kind of women are you referring to? Because see, when a lesbian is sexually involved with a lesbian, she is completely satisfied. But when you say as a man that you're having sex with women who tell you that they like sleeping with you because you have a penis, those women are not lesbians. What they're doing is they are equating the women who these men are sleeping with, they're putting these women in the same category as lesbians. But lesbians do not have sex with men. Lesbians are female homosexuals. So these men are sleeping with women who are not lesbians. And these women are heterosexual women and they're bisexual women. And I did some research, and this is what I know and I understand about these men who think this way, and even these women who think this way, that lesbians are not sexually satisfied because they're sleeping with women. My question to you is, what kind of women are you referring to? because they are not lesbians. These women are heterosexual women and they're bisexual women. In other words, they're women who like men. So of course they like penis. These women could never be fully satisfied by sleeping with women exclusively because they're not lesbians. So a man cannot compare the women that they're having sex with to lesbians because they are not lesbians. Men sleep with heterosexual women and they sleep with bisexual women, or women who are fluid in their sexuality. These can be women who identify as bisexual, pansexual, or demisexual. Let me tell you something about bisexual women and fluid women. The reason why they are convincing these men that lesbians are not sexually satisfied by women is because bisexual women have sex with men and they enjoy being with men sexually. And because they also have sex with women, it gives the men the perception that women need to have sex with a man because she's never able to just only have sex with women exclusively. But what these men fail to realize is that these women that they're having sex with are bisexual. So they're able to sleep with both men and women if they want to. They think that means that women are not sexually satisfied by sleeping with women only. But the truth is, those women are able to have sex with women and men because they're bisexual and they are not lesbians. So a man cannot compare a bisexual woman to a lesbian because he's listening to a bisexual woman, but a bisexual woman is not a lesbian, and a bisexual woman does not have the mindset of a lesbian. A bisexual woman can't even tell a lesbian how to feel and how to think sexually. But a man thinks he knows how a lesbian feels because he's dealing with bisexual women. He thinks that a bisexual woman is equal to a lesbian woman in her thinking. But that is wrong. That is not true. Bisexual women like men and women sexually. And them being bisexual, she may like men more sexually. And so because these men are dealing with bisexual women and they're dealing with these bisexual women who like men more sexually, meaning these bisexual women will tell these men, well, I like men more than women. Or women don't really satisfy me in the bedroom like a man does. So that's why men think that lesbians are not sexually satisfied by women. But that's a lie. And that's why my message, the title specifically says lesbians are sexually satisfied by lesbians. Because when lesbians are sexually involved with lesbians, that means you have two female homosexuals having sexual relationships together. And they are fully satisfied because lesbians do not like to be with men sexually. So to all the people out there, whether you are a man or a woman, and you're going around spreading all of this false information about lesbians, and you think that lesbians are not sexually satisfied, it's impossible for them to be sexually fulfilled because they're with women. Well, of course you would think that way because either you are a man and you're a man who has sex with women who are heterosexual or bisexual, or you are a woman and you are not a lesbian. You are a heterosexual woman or you are a bisexual woman. And so because you are not a lesbian, you like to be with men sexually, and you let men know that you could never be satisfied fully by a woman. And that would be true for you. because you are not a lesbian. Lesbians are sexually satisfied by lesbians. And that's the truth about lesbians. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, like and share the video. If this message resonates with you, hit the super thanks button and donate to the YouTube channel. My YouTube channel actually allows me to produce content that can help enlighten people and educate people about lesbians and the lesbian community. I am Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Thank you for listening. And also, make sure you go register at Giselle Wallace Lesbian Academy and learn our way.